Good morning and welcome to the regular Q&A show, in which the show is that I take questions and can't actually play the game for you, which makes me really sad. After a weekend of playing the game and asking questions, it makes me really sad. So instead, we get to watch a recording of a couple, I think this is a couple dungeon runs, and I get to hate full screen again, like last time. I'm Phasers from Tamriel Foundry. I moderate the Dragon Knight forums. And I play a lot of Dragon Knight and way too much beta. Yeah, I wish I could show live footage, but they're like, nope, you can only stream on weekends. And we're just like, why? Why do? Why is this a thing? Either ways. Yeah. So... yeah, you can see your own mage light, but other people can't see your own mage light. Even while you're stealthed. Which is really, I mean, like, it doesn't seem like that makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it makes sense as per, like, logic. But as game mechanics, that's just how it works. Mage light's just a buff that you have. And then the light itself is just the animation that's part of the buff. Yep. Good morning, fish. How are you? We have tea. We have tea, and we're still incredibly thrown off by daylight savings time. Because it's like, well, everything got moved around by an hour, and I have no idea. So, in recent news and announcements, about an hour ago on Twitter, ZeniMax announced that there will be a beta next weekend. And the invites will be going out. They go out tomorrow. So, good news for all you non-PTS testers is the build that, unless they add another patch, the build you will be playing on is 181. Which is, if you're watching any streams over the weekend, the same build that the PTS is currently on. Let me just double check. It should be 181 at least. Yep, 181 patched the 3rd. So if you want to see what the game is like with Collision, what the new starter experience is like. Yeah, all that stuff will be in. And it will most likely be the last test before launch. There might be one more. Because, Head Start is in 3 weeks. Head Start's on the 30th. I can't actually believe that it's that close. That is... like, the last week, I was like, holy shit. The game comes out in a month. Morning, Absolute. Morning, Yonzo. Yonzo's here for everything. I don't think the 3 factions themselves really balance release-wise, but because of how campaigns work, there will be a balance. Like, the campaigns themselves will be mostly balanced. Though we'll see. It does, like, show population counts, roughly, as, like, high, low, medium. So, PvE-wise, faction might not be balanced. PvP within an individual campaign, probably. Pros and cons for Templar versus Dragon Knight. I think for Templar versus Dragon Knight, it depends what role you're filling. So like if you're a tank, if you're a healer, if you're a DPS. Yeah. Are you able to use crafting alts to improve bound items from your mains? Nope. It is bound, so you cannot give it to your crafting alt to improve. Oh. Okay. That I can answer. So, pros and cons for a Templar versus Dragon Knight in terms of tanking. Templar doesn't have as reliable, and by as reliable, I mean next to none, no AoE crowd control. However, I do think that they have stronger self-healing and stronger, their blocking is definitely stronger. I also think that maybe with restoring aura, their stamina regen is slightly more reliable rather than having to use something like Dragon's Blood, which is really expensive. In order to get extra stamina. So basically, you have a bit more. I'd say you have disregarding molten armor, because molten armor is silly. You have Templar is slightly better because your base mitigation is higher because of Spear Wall, and you have better self healing because of Ritual Rebirth, not Ritual, the first one, the first heal. Actually, that's a good point, Shaznat. With the account bank, I don't actually know. Because I know you can put bound things into your bank, so it could be bound to account. That is a very good point. I didn't actually think of that. Does Overload scale with spell power crit only? It probably does, but the damage scales with the regular attack, so maybe it's a unique case. So yes, Overload is a spell. I think next to all ultimates are counted as spells in terms of which crit stat it uses. So yes, it does use your spell crit, even though it is light and heavy attacks. The effect itself is a spell, so it'll use your spell crit. Yeah, there's a bunch of weird cases. How did the Imperial test go? So the thing I wanted to test with Imperial is the scaling on the Red Diamond passive, and that went fairly well. I think I got a good idea of what that is. What it looked like was for every rank, it's 2%. So at rank 1, it's 2% of your maximum health. At rank 2, it's 4%, and at rank 3, it's 6% of your maximum health. Which is a good amount of health. Like, most players are going to have 2,000 or more. So your heal, so it's a 10% chance for a heal for like 120. You probably a bit higher, which is fairly good. Yeah, last we heard about campaign caps was 2k per faction. Does Mage Light crit chance work on Resto Staff and Destro Staff? Yes, Resto Staff and Destruction Staff. Well, actually, that's a lie. Restoration Staff skills cannot crit. Destruction Staff skills will use the spell crit from Mage Light. Whoa. Do you think that a Shadow Priest Nightblade build will be viable? It seems powerful with a lot of support abilities. I don't think that I'm not actually too familiar with the Nightblade damage over time spells, but I know some of the other ones that are available don't actually do that much damage. Health Funnel does look really interesting because I've seen Swallow's Soul tick on Nightblades for like 200. So Health Funnel might be like a good group heal, or at least reasonable. But yeah, I'm not actually sure what kind of stuff you would take with that. Let's pick a race here. Start mucking around while we take more questions. Can rings still be double enchanted? No, that's been fixed. And I'm glad that's been fixed, because there is some silly things that happened with that. Yeah, that's right, Kaylee. We can only stream live from the weekend. So we have this ugly-looking full-screen window, because I can't click on multiple things without it closing the full screen, and it makes me really sad. If you pick a campaign, will you be able to change it? You can guest into other campaigns, but you will gain no alliance points. Or you can switch campaigns, but it costs 100,000 alliance points, I think. Yeah, I wish I could still show live footage, but I can't. So instead, we get this recorded of we're in Veteran Elton Hollow, and I'm PvE DPSing in my PvP build for no reason. I actually didn't have my gear on me, so. I think it's actually longer than 24. I think Travel to Player would guest you into their campaign. Alright, so if we were going to make a dot kind of build, what would we take? Oh, what is 30% of the damage inflicted. Player heals for 30% of the damage inflicted every 2 seconds. Okay, I see. How long does it take to level the Mage Guild to get Equilibrium? Equilibrium is Mage's Guild 8. So, I would say if you absolutely searched for every book in each zone while you're leveling, you could probably get it by the time you finish your main faction, your first faction. Because I know, if you're really careful, you can get 6 by the time you finish the second zone. Yeah, Incident. I think there'll be a lot of, guessing around and a lot of searching as campaigns start to fill up and settle with populations. How hard is it to get 100,000? I don't actually. Well, I wish I had access to the live beta right now so I could check how much. Yeah, the 17 plus ones. I wish I had access to the live beta right now so I could check how many alliance points that character has. But I don't think it takes that long to get 100,000, or it won't take that long to get 100,000 later, when there's more higher level characters to get points off of, because the higher. Wow, the VOD quality is terrible. Okay, second zone is the 17 plus one, so that'd be Gruntwood, Stormhaven, or Deshaun. It's supposed to be a lot of points. They don't want you just switching for no reason. I'm going to attempt to put together. Let's mess around on ESOHead here while waiting for more questions to attempt to put together some sort of dot build. Let's take some sort. Let's swallow soldier. He'll receive more than. Okay, we'll take health funnel. Soften soul. Atropos for Emperor. Do I think there is a shortage of healers? No, I don't. Well, at least because either on the live server, I'm either running with a set group, or on the PTS, there's only set groups out there, so... Morning DD. I'm just gonna go with DD. Drain power, power extraction. Winning Telperion. That is a random emote. What the hell are you? Blur something plus sparks. Yeah. Evasion and mischance effects do work on players. They're a random value outside of the regular hit tracking. So even if they do like hit you because they're aiming at you, they still have a chance to miss while they're blinded with sparks or while you have a dodge chance with blur. They are blind and dodge and miss are different effects, so I think it's an individual roll for each. So if you have, so say the target is in Ash Cloud, which is gives the target a 30% chance to miss. Oh, this goes really badly. And then if they're blinded, which I think also gives them a chance to miss. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I might be stacking things wrong. Sparks, blind. Which is a chance to miss, okay. 40% miss chance. Hang on. Might get something wrong. Enemies have a 50% miss chance. Evasion. Dodge chance. What? Okay. I don't know what the difference between miss and dodge is. That's really weird that you have a buff that gives you miss and then a buff that gives you dodge. And then there are set bonuses that give you dodge. Yeah. Wait, it does, yes. Basically, it's a random chance for a targeted skill, spell, or attack, so spell or otherwise, to, to just, like, straight up miss. Yes! We broke the encounter! So now we have... something is bashable that isn't supposed to be bashed, so we bugged the graphic and we're taking more damage than we're supposed to because the thing we're supposed to stand in is not there. And we wiped because of it. So that's what happened there. Look video, stop that. Can I explain the burning proc? How often does it proc at base? How does it affect Searing Strike? So burning burning is it just occurs off of any source of fire damage. So if, say, yeah, it occurs off of any source of fire damage. I think it's based off the base. No, it may or may not be based off the amount of damage the skill did. I don't think it is though. I think it's based on some combination of stats on how much damage it does. But kindling increases the damage of that burn. So it doesn't affect Searing Strike directly, or indirectly for that matter. It's just Searing Strike can cause burn. That was a terrible answer. That was really bad. Burn is chance on fire damage, not based on anything else. Damage scales with, I think it's actually your magicka. Kindling does not affect Searing Strike. It affects the burn debuff. There. Better answer. Hard time deciding between DK and Sork for release. Is it easy to be catted into as a DK, as most of the DKs are in melee range? It can be. unless you're running like charge or chains. Though chains is fairly expensive. The only thing that you can't really catch is a sorcerer, because fuck Bolt Escape. Do you know if the weapons change their outlook if you upgrade them to legendary? Rudris is our crafting guy is actually gathering upgrade materials right now to check if things do increase their do change their outlook as you improve their quality. So answer pending. It's currently in testing. No, so far the one thing that he has tested with, he tested it with a chess piece. It does. But that's with one piece of item. That's with a chess piece. So, answer pending. And then found on what traits will be required to craft special sets. The thing with the to craft the special sets, you need to have an amount of traits. It doesn't matter which traits you have, though. So, for example, the Seducer requires you to have 3 or 4 traits known for an individual slot to craft that set with that slot. I say 3 or 4 because I think some pieces are 3 and some pieces are 4. Vile is the Nightblade you always wanted to be. Vile is actually tanking in this dungeon run with like very little passives. I was like, Vile, you tank, because he was messing around with things. I'm like, sure, I don't care. But yeah, Vile's pretty good. Does dot damage break the Nightblade's Shadow Cloak? Also, does the Shadowy Disguise morph grant 100% crit on all attacks? Okay. Dot damage does not break Shadow Cloak. However, you can still be rooted while you have Shadow Cloak active. So Shadow Cloak won't break on anything, but you can still be affected by like blanket AoEs. People are saying that Shadowy Disguise only works on melee attacks. Shadowy Disguise, yeah, it only works on melee attacks. But it is 100%. I don't know why it says rating. There are some. They do need to like clean up a bunch of tooltips. I don't know why there's rating there, but yeah, it does give you 100% chance to crit, I guess, at max rank. So people with a lot of soul gems, is there any place to buy them at higher levels? Already filled, or do they work? You can buy them filled, but they're like 2,000 gold each filled. Or they're like 200 gold unfilled. So it's really easy to fill soul gems. Yeah. Are silverballs good enough to be I think it depends on your class, Kabonk. I think if some classes have better things than Silverbolts to contribute some damage between heals. Like, for example, a Templar could contribute Backlash, which is a lot of damage every 6 seconds. If you're a Sorcerer, yeah, you could use Crystal Fragments. If you're a Dragon Knight, Dragon Knight doesn't really have as much. Yeah. Do you know how the hot from the Templar's Cleansing Aura compares to the hot from Mutagen? Let me look at Cleansing Aura. Restore. Do you... What? Cleansing Ritual. Purifying Ritual? Extended Ritual. Anyways. Easelhead doesn't get tools up, so no, I don't. It just is 0, so I don't. I wish I did. Cast a target in PvP to death by only casting crystal shards at him or while around. Crystal shards hits really hard if you have a large amount of magicka. I mean like 700 hard. So it'll take 3 or 4 shards to kill someone, but you have enough magicka for that at that level. And that's without them reacting. So you can fuck someone up really quickly. With all the soft and hard gaps, would it be an okay idea to pick a race that abilities contribute to, for example, magicka if you plan to build a stamina fighter? I wouldn't say it's a terrible idea. I would definitely, I wouldn't say it's a terrible idea. That was actually my original idea, but you don't actually lose that much for picking a race that is a stamina race. I would consider it. And I would maybe make a race choice more on what the unique racial is for the races. This is true that it's almost 100% necessary for anyone to have enchanting if they want to have good gear. You need to at least know an enchanter. Because you can buy basic white enchants, but the best enchants are always going to be crafted. But they are tradable, so you can, if you know someone else, you can get them from them. Yeah. It's really easy to do Soul Trap. Soul Trap lasts like 10-12 seconds, so you just kind of like throw it up. You can see when it's on them, still have like these purple clouds around them. If you're not using like FTC or anything. As a Templar for stamina, let's see here. What would be a good stamina filler move for a healing Templar? I guess, yeah. I mean, your only really good option that would be Silver Shards. Because you can't use a weapon, because you're using presumably using a Resto Staff. So it's not so much that Silver Shards is a good option. It's an okay option, but it's not like great. But it's pretty much the only one that you really have that doesn't suck, I guess. So. How often do you have to use the MMO aspect of the game? While streams, it seems the online part isn't really part needed. So the thing that you're seeing with a lot of the streams over the previous weekend is they're from the PTS, which has a really low population. The footage showing right now is a group well, right now I'm switching my gear out of my bank because I need my real DPS gear, but it is a group dungeon, which, you know, it's online. We need 4 people to do it. There is other group content as well, so it's so yeah, it doesn't look like the world is that filled with people because the actual population on the server is really low. The poison damage from the snipe morph. So the snipe morph itself is really odd, I think, because it changes it to 2 poison damage. I think at that point it is affected by spell resistance instead of armor. Yeah. Yeah, Jake Shelton and his fucking Jake. I just hate Bolt Escape. They need to nerf Bolt Escape more and I'll be happy. The Ritual Mending Stone gives bonus to healing given or healing received. We aren't sure. It just has increased healing effectiveness, and we haven't actually gotten around to seeing if it's received or taken. Though it would probably only take like a minute or two to actually do that. Generally, if you find the weapon abilities that use stamina are as good as class skills use magicka, is it easy to find yourself running low on a particular resource if you don't diversify? I find it easy to run low on your resource if you just anyways. If you're not careful. I think it really depends on the build. There are good builds for each combination. I think more pure stamina builds, though, are generally rarer because they haven't been experimented with as much, because a lot of people are saving their stamina for defensive skills. Like, right here, you can actually see that I'm switching over to my DPS build. It is it's a hybrid build. It uses both magicka and stamina. And I have to be really careful with my resource management. Do you have the percent reductions for... I have a couple numbers on what kind of, how much mitigation armor is. Whoa, bad chat. Don't know what just happened. Yeah, I have a couple of numbers on those, but I don't really know a couple points. I know that 1800, which is the soft cap, is 35%, and I know that 2600 is 50%, which is the hard cap. 2000 is around 42%. So I don't really have like a good set of numbers for that. I just have like rough values. Between the high elf 6% and the dark elf 4 spell power. Mistborn on Tamriel Foundry actually did the math for that. It is generally better to go high elf. Because the amount that the amount of that 4 spell power actually increases things is not that much. How many different gear do you run? I have a full medium set. I have my heavy tanking set, and then I just have a pile of random pieces that I throw on for PvP. Which more depend on what kind of build that I'm using, so... a lot? Does the target need minimum health left to use marked target? You can cast it just before it dies, yeah. Do you know how useful spell penetration is? Is it good for magical damage when choosing the Apprentice Stone, or is the damage bonus on the mage better? I think Apprentice is good in PvP, not good in PvE. From my experience, PvE enemies don't have that much spell resistance. Players have a lot, though, generally. So if you're doing PvE, I would take the mage. If you're doing PvP, both are good. Generally, people right now like the mage because it also gives you a larger resource pool. I love reflecting crystal shards against sorcerers. So yes. That is my favorite thing. They still get away, but... oh. I do crystal shards is pretty much always worth it. I mean, but, well, that went south. This is also my favorite boss in the game. I love this boss. Even though he just, melted our face. There is not a microtransaction shop. There's not. I don't think they're going to be a microtransaction shop at all. What they're inferring with that is they're going to sell account services. So probably stuff like faction change, race change. I know they won't be available in launch, but these are it's all speculation at this point. But no, there is not a microtransaction shop. The crit damage passive on Gajit works on spells and melee attacks. It works on everything. It's just the melee crit chance. Everything, the crit damage is everything. If you were going to pick a, I would not take Bosmer. Bosmer is pretty much really bad. I would personally, I would take Redguard if you were going to go for a stamina race. Redguard, Imperial is okay, but not Bosmer. Bosmer is unfortunately not that great. No, Flame Talent does not scale with level. It's always 4 at max rank. Which actually isn't that bad. I mean, Molten Whip at max rank is 11. You have 80 base at level 50. How's the staff wielding DK doing in PvP? It's doing pretty good. We had some pretty good success last night. Once people stopped being dumb. Does the 3% spellcast reduction work on stamina-based skills as well? From Breton, I believe it is only spells. Where is it? Yeah, it says Magicka cost of spells in the tooltip, so only Magicka-based skills, not stamina things. Did I test elemental weakness on? From my general experience with spell resistance reduction in PvE is that enemies don't have a lot of spell resistance, so you don't get that much damage increase. It is really good in PvP because generally players in PvP will have like 1900 spell resistance, give or take. So, and that's something like around 39% reduction. Cutting that by 40% is a good amount. Summon Shade good for Nightblades? I actually don't know if Summon Shade is any good or not. The Shadow Boon? Shadow Boon would be good if you're doing a crit-based build. So, for example, Atropos' Reaver build, his crit-based sorcerer, that uses the Shadow Stone, or would eventually. It also synergizes really well with Critical Surge, because Critical Surge gives you a heal when you crit based on the damage that you did. What do you think about Lightning Staffs? Are they good for damage dealing? I'd think Lightning... So the reason why people always use Fire is Fire does the most damage. Fire Staff, most of the Destruction Staff skills, when you're using a Fire Staff, have an innate damage bonus on them. I think most of the time you'll want to be running one Lightning Staff just for the concussion debuff if you're in a group. I do think the Lightning Staff skills, like the actual animations for the Lightning skills, do look awesome. Yes, I can give you a link to a sorcerer build. I'll go find one. How do you get more spell power? Spell power is... Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Boop, boop. Spell power is available on jewelry. So, rings, necklace, and... Yeah, rings and necklace. What am I looking for? Someone, I think someone tried to post Atropos' re-rebuild. Alright, this guy. So if you're looking for a sorcerer build, like a good crit-based sorcerer build, this one. How much pen do you get with the apprenticeship stone? I'm not actually sure. It doesn't tell you. Does dual add a percentage of offhand damage to your weapon damage stat? If so, how much? It adds some. I'm not too sure. It does add damage to your weapon damage stat, but how much, I'm not sure. I know that it's enough to make it equivalent to the amount of weapon damage if you're using a two-handed weapon, though. So I'm not sure what the exact equation on that is, but it does make it equivalent to a two-handed weapon. Is fire resistant chance a good idea for PvP? Yeah. Given that fact that most Dragonites, you know, do fire damage. They're the only class that actually has a lot of, like, instead of flat magic damage on their skills, they do fire. The elemental drain proc off weapon attacks with damage chance? Yes, it should. You know how magical resist and elemental resist stack? I don't, but yeah, I don't know how they stack. But I do think that they do. I know someone. I probably can ask around the PTS because I think there's people that do know. I just need to get a hold of them. Okay. Don't pick a race based on what the experience gain ratio is, because that is only going to last you until that skill is 50, and then you've picked a race on a useless racial. So yeah. What do you? Crystal Shard can't do sneak attack damage because it is not a. Crystal Shard is a pure spell. It's not like a melee attack or a bow skill. It's just a spell, so you can't sneak attack with it. Or you can sneak attack with it, but you won't do sneaky damage. It will just do the normal damage that Crystal Shard does, which is a lot still. How do I heal myself as a DK in solo slash PvE? When I'm soloing, I use Dragon Blood. Dragon Blood heals you for 30% of your missing health. 33% of your missing health, actually. How much your overall damage comes from Unstable Flame? Unfortunately, the FGC damage meter doesn't give us a damage breakdown. It just tells you how much you did. So, I'm not sure. It's a good portion of it, though. What I would like for them to do is at least give us a combat log. That way someone can just make an ACT plugin, and we can just use ACT. I don't even care. Have I had a chance to try Vampire or Werewolf? Do you recommend either? I was thinking about Life Leech on a Dragonite tank, but most people are bashing on Vampires. Okay. So, the reason why people bash on Vampires is because there are a lot of sources of fire damage. And we aren't entirely sure on, at least I'm not entirely sure on how magic resistance and pure elemental resistance stack together. If you could somehow counteract the fire vulnerability of a vampire. Speaking, where are we anyways? What the hell are we doing? Why are we here? Why are we here? I don't even remember what's going on. Yeah, even if we can get just like the game to output to a combat log, I'll take an ACT plugin. Oh yeah, we're testing damage of Flames of Oblivion. That's what we're doing. Where do I find some of these songs? I've had this thing for years. I don't use some of this music that I have. Take it. It's whatever. Would you recommend a full set of light armor when I'm a full damage caster? Will I die fast in dungeons or PvP? PvP currently not really, because a lot of builds are magic based right now. So you're fairly safe because of the spell resistance that light armor gives you. And in dungeons, if you bring like a survivability skill or a crowd control skill, you're fairly safe. I don't actually know anything about the Nightblade Shade ability. I wish I did. Nightblade is actually the class that I know the least amount of. So maybe... I don't know. Will the Venture Zones be challenging enough that we'll have to monitor other players' DPS/performance? Hopefully. Hopefully. We have no idea what the difficulty of the content in the Adventure Zones will be, so... Alright, so it's hopefully. I'd like them to be, like, seriously challenging. Okay, am I really gonna die to this troll? For soloing, Imperial. I would say, yeah, definitely for, oh wait. I give you a race, and that's about it, because class and build are really subjective. That is like a huge, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Shadow Image? I think, yeah. I can see Shadow Image being really good. I'd say, yeah. No, I'll agree with that. How would I feel the game is shaping up as a whole? Really well. They've made some really dumb marketing decisions, but the game itself is really good. Am I using the Mage Guild 20% toggle skill? I'm not. I decided, in my DPS guild build, I decided against it, because they buffed Flurry. Or they buffed Rapid Strikes. Flurry is the morph. No, Flurry is the base skill, and Rapid Strikes is the morph. Either way, it was buffed. Heavy attacks with the Destruction Staff hit significantly harder than the light attacks. By significantly harder, I mean, like, as an example, I've crit for like 230 with the Destruction Staff, and with a light attack, and I've crit upwards of 800 with a heavy attack. What was I talking about, Imperials? Someone was like asking about best class race build for soloing. So Imperial's probably the best race for soloing because of the self-heal proc. But other than that, class and race are really, like, flexible and subjective. I can go find that note, because I did think that they changed something with... fuck. Thanks, brain. I'm just gonna go look at the patch notes, because actually, before I find the patch notes, I want to get back to footage where we actually do something. What are we doing? Come on. Not doing anything. Not doing anything. Why am I naked? Dungeon? Dungeon? Giving werewolf? What? Did I sign in? Stop that. Oh, we're in Spindle Clutch. Ooh, what happened? Ooh, okay. Start a Spindle Clutch. There we go. Can all dots crit? As far as I'm aware, all dots can crit. Every dot that I've seen and have used personally have crit. Hots, however, cannot crit. So unless there's a dot that I'm not aware of, yeah. So light attacks are roughly 1 second. Heavy attacks are 2 to 2.5 seconds. I think with like a destruction staff, it's 2 seconds because they have the passive that increases the speed at which you can use heavy attacks. Sorc Archer or Templar Archer, which would be better in PvP? Sorcerer, because you have absurd mobility. I'm trying to find the one. Why are they not there? Why is that? What? Better forms. Come on. The API supports hot crits even though they can't actually crit. Okay, that's funny. That makes no sense. What the hell? Where the hell are these notes? I find the notes easier on Reddit than I can on my own Twitter. Where the hell? Look. Look, where is it? Where is it? Oh. Do you find that you have enough inventory slots as you progress in higher levels? In past betas have found. So, they actually increased the size of the starting inventory by 10 spots. So you now start with 60. Which definitely should help people with the feeling the bag space is too small. This is not the right set of patch notes. God damn it. Why is it not sticky to developer discussion? Why? Is it in the dev tracker? Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Okay. I hate with. Why can't they all put these things in the same place? Yeah, this is pre-recorded. The AoE spell that I'm spamming is, I believe it's Pulsar. If I'm remembering which build I'm using correctly, I'm spamming Pulsar, which is a morph of Impulse. Did you test Annulment plus Obsidian Shield in PvP? So I did some really terrible on testing on that, but what? Oh shit! I can't even. Oh, that'll work. Okay. I did some really terrible testing with shields stacking. Mistborn did better testing than I did. He actually spent some time with it. So what happens is the shields are first in, first out. So if you cast Annulment and then Igneous Shield or Obsidian Shield, it'll use up the Obsidian Shield first, but you will still get the damage reduction from Annulment. So yeah, it is really good if you're stacking shields on top of Annulment. Except, but, what he also found is that shields don't count your mitigation. So yeah, you get the stacking for annulment, but it's also an unmitigated value. So if something has a base damage of 1,000, it's going to hit you for 1,000, rather than 1,000 minus whatever your spell resistance is reduced by. So probably 40%. So instead of hitting you for 600, it'll hit you for 1,000, or versus the shield, and then it'll count your damage reduction. It's really weird and sucks. A backlash is capped. I think it's 1280 at level 50. Erlex reports that it's somewhere closer to 1,500 at VR10. So, threat passive's Fire Staff attacks can increase the critical chance on enemies by 10%. Let me look at the Fire Staff passive. What are we looking at here? Try focus. Fire attack increases crit. What? Okay. So the way I interpret the passive in question, Trifocus, is you hit them with a fire attack and it applies a debuff to them that causes them to have like a 10%, or that destruction spells have a 10% higher crit chance against them. So you hit them with a light attack, and then you have a 10% crit chance against that target with with other destruction skills. That's how I interpret that. Which is probably correct. I haven't noticed it, but that's probably something that should be tested first. It's not quite 38 fire damage with light and heavy attacks. It's ends up being around 30. It gets up to like 34. But yeah, third is just 57 weapon damage. Molten Weapons is 22 on yourself, so it's not as much weapon damage, but the extra fire damage from Igneous is a really large amount. Since it's on every attack for the next minute, it definitely adds up. Or at least in the case of light and heavy attacks, which you end up using a lot. Special Staff attacks are mitigated by spell resistance because they are elemental. So, you know, it's a fire staff or lightning staff, they get treated against your spell resistance and your yeah, yes, the light/heavy attacks wouldn't get the 10% crit from Trifocus because the tooltip says destruction spells. So I don't think it would apply to the light or heavy attacks. Do we see any pros to feeding your horse anything besides increased speed? So what we've been recommending to people is if you're getting the Imperial Edition, you take your Imperial horse, because it's 1 gold, and you give it bag space. And that's what you use that horse for, is you give that one bag space. And then what you would do is you save for the expensive horse, the 47k horse, and you use that one for speed. Because you're going to want the bag space while leveling, but you're going to want the speed horse when you're max for Cyrodiil, because that zone is huge. You need the speed for getting around. Surge/Molten Weapons, yes, both of they're timed buffs, so they stay on you, well, even if you switch your bars around. The only things that you lose are toggled skills. So, like Mage Light or the Sorcerer Pets, those disappear unless they're also on the other bar. Splash damage. Shock attack. So we'll try to focus on the Lightning Staff. If you use Impulse and 4 tightly grouped enemies, with the damage from each of them deals splash damage, effectively dealing 4 instances of splash damage to 2 enemies each time. So it says Shock Attack, which is the, I'm assuming is the light or heavy attacks. Not actually Impulse, which is a destruction spell. So I don't think that it would do that. I think it just gives you like extra splash damage while you're using light or heavy attacks. Sort of like Forceful for the two-handed weapon. Light and heavy attacks with staves count as spell. Yes, they count. So they count against spell resistance and regular elemental resistance as well. Try reducing the quality. I have been having issues with watching some Twitch streams on Source, sadly, so I gotta kick it down to like medium or high, and it makes me really sad. Can Reaper's Mark be applied on bosses and dungeons? I would assume so, but I haven't seen any of our Nightblades try for some reason. That is a loud car. Okay. Do you think a stamina build for DK focusing on igneous weapons, dual wielding, and engulfing flames might work? I think if you're going to be a stamina build, you're better off taking the other Burning Breath morph. But I would definitely recommend taking igneous weapons for sure. I say I recommend the other Burning Breath morph because if you're going to be stamina based, you're doing a lot of physical damage. So reducing the armor is going to give you more than just like increasing the damage of the igneous weapon proc. Have I gotten any Daedric artifacts? I have. I have an let's see what I have. I have a True Flame, I have an Auriel's Bow, and I have a Volendrung. Does weapon damage have a soft cap, and is it easily reached? It does have a soft cap. It's not easily reached. You definitely... you can get there easily if you're using a buff that increases your weapon damage, but it's not... But it's not something you can easily get to with just gear. Are the spells in the Destruction Staff skill and recognized as destruction spells? And also, do the sort class abilities have a tribute? So that I'm not entirely sure on. I would have to ask one of our sorcerers because they might know. I do believe that it works the other way around, though, so if you're using a lightning staff as a sorcerer, you can still get stuff like Disintegrate. What is... Okay, that's better. I'm like, what the hell is this? Well, yeah. Yeah, because Disintegrate says all lightning spells. If you're using a lightning staff, everything is a lightning spell. But I don't think the sorcerer's spells count for destruction staff passives. This is similar, but this is actually opposite of how a Templar works. Never mind. Okay. Do all weapon types have the same weapon damage cap? Yes. People just don't get it. If you were to build a healer DK for your weapon swap, would I put tank or damage on it? I would put support. So I would have like all healing skills on one bar and then support skills on the other. Support skills in this case do include stuff like Burning Talons. So you can still contribute some damage. Does stamina increase the light slash heavy attack damage on a bow, magicka for staff? All light slash heavy attack damage is counted by with stamina. So even staff, the light and heavy attack damage is scales with stamina, which is really weird. I wish it wasn't that way, but that's the way it is, and it makes no sense. Can I find the, there's 181 notes. 181 notes does not have what I want. Ah, this is the notes that I want. Is the Nord 50% in combat life regen skill good for DK, or can it be regarded as non-relevant at max level? I'm not a fan of any of the life regen at all, because it starts soft capping much earlier than the other regens. The other regens start getting diminishing returns at 80. Health regen starts getting diminished return at 50, and it's not that hard. That's not that much higher than the base. Khajiit also has the same passive, also has the health regen passive, and with just the Khajiit passive, I am soft capped on my health regen. Yeah. There is not a soft cap on attack speed. However, dots, yeah, there's not an attack. There's not a soft cap on attack speed because it's only from very limited sources. It's like crit. There are dots can crit, big play. Is this Imperial armor? Yes, this is what is. How much is this Imperial? My chest, my shoulders, and my helmet. Okay, not anymore. My chest and my shoulders and my helmet were Imperial style. How deep is my knowledge on crafting? Not very. I know our crafter is around. I've seen him. He probably had to go to work though. It is in combat, but I mean it's going to enlist the value anyways for whatever reason. Because out of combat regen is like not important. What matters is the in combat value. It's the same passive. Both of them are called robust. It's the same passive. Powerlifting. I don't have any tips for powerlifting. What I'm going to be doing though is trying to stay on par with quests while doing as many of the main story things as I can, because all the main story quests, the main story quests in the zones give skill points. So I want to try and stay on level with those so I can get as many skill points as I can while leveling. That's my personal plan. That's probably not the fastest way to 50 though. The fast way to 50, I don't know what that is though. What is base regen at VR10? I think it's 64 for magicka and stamina, and health is like 438, I think. Adventure Zone, yeah. ZeniMax is being really quiet about Adventure Zones. Anything that's been released in public, that's all we know. Is anything that's, you know, so that post on Reddit that was said where they talked about Adventure Zones, yep, that's all we know. We know they're a zone, we know there are raids, they know they're a group. They'll be higher than VR10. Well, it's VR10 plus. Yeah. Low health begins at 25%. Yes. And storm calling spells have a 10% chance to disintegrate. Why are we going to Cyrodiil? This looks like a bad idea. And then the banish cells. What the hell? Where'd it go? Okay. So we were on this disintegrate thing. And storm calling spells have a 10% chance to disintegrate low health enemies. So for example, if I use lightning form, each tick of damage has a 10% chance to disintegrate the enemy. Yes. However, you cannot disintegrate a boss. What happens is you end up proccing a hit for something for like 1,000 damage instead of just straight up killing it. Where? Still looking for this Nightblade note. I don't know why, but I'm still looking for that never actually happened. What? Yeah, because the patch note in 0.18 updated the attack animation for Shadow Image. He is now immobile and shoots a bow. That is a lie. I've seen that Shadow Image run forward and punch something. Would I run Inner Light in my DPS build? I was going to, and then they buffed Flurry. Does Disintegrate prevent player res in PvP? I think it does. There have been some cases where we can res the pile of ash, but for the most part, we haven't. For the most part, if you get killed by an elemental status effect, you become a pile of ash and can't be resed. Which is really interesting. It's interesting and kind of lame. So. What do you do once you hit 50? You start progressing through the 50 plus zones. So, what the 50 plus zones are the other factions, like story quests. You can progress through their zones, and those are scaled up to be higher level. So even if you're just 50, you're VR1, and then in which case, like, there's a zone that's VR1, next one's VR2, and there's still that all the way up to VR10. How much do I have / played? Too much. Too much even for a beta. I don't even know. People are like, I have 10 days, I have 8 days, and I'm just like, I have 20 days. How do I have 20 days? I've only had this since Christmas. How is this a thing? Blasted work! IT for a billing office, so really he doesn't do a whole lot. Oh, Rudius is still in chat. Why am I not? Why are you not? Why? Is VR progression more horizontal than 1 to 50 progression? Yes. You stop gaining additional attribute points. You gain some base attributes, though. And the only, yeah. And then you don't get any additional skill points either. So, at least from VR rank. So it is more horizontal than 1 to 50. Dracane, I know you want the answer to that, but they've asked that we don't give out spoilers. And that would be a spoiler. Well, that's new. Okay, what's up? Yeah. You do fight him. Yeah, okay. You do fight Molly Ball at some point in the game. He is in the game. He's there. Not saying anything else. He's in the game. Yeah. What time is it? Okay. Yep, quick, Rudis is here. He has 10 minutes. Ask him all the crafting questions. Throw them in chat. Does the dual passive for also apply to your spells or just your dagger skills? Slaughter, 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 slaughter. Increases the only dual wield skills. It says increases damage with dual wield abilities by 10%, or yeah, by 20%, so 20%. So yeah, only dual wield skills, not your class stuff. Just I'd say food definitely gets good. Like it's 400 of 2 stats at max at high levels. Yeah, you will. Yeah, you'll definitely need food. It's just basically like a consumable and any other MMO. It's basically required. I wouldn't say they're OP though. They're good. So it's 400 of 2 stats pretty much. You get to pick which 2 stats you want though, so it is flexible. Crafting questions. Can you find light armor that isn't robes? Yes, there are some light armor styles that are more like tunics. Those do exist. I think they're ugly. I like robes personally. Is there any challenging content for some of the better players where you wipe a lot? The veteran dungeons are fairly challenging. They're not overly challenging though. The actual like super challenging content is apparently going to be in the adventure zones. So the veteran dungeons are hard. They're about Burning Crusade heroic hard, which is pretty good. I think that's like a really like good balance point for them. Because like you can still die at them even if they're really good. If you just like play really badly, we have some really good examples of really bad play. Yeah. Can't upgrade rings. There you go. Except rings. Duck, we can only stream live on weekends. This is recorded. Well, I just still show recorded stuff, so I'm just like flipping through some of my stream highlights from the weekend. So, you know, dungeon stuff that isn't boring. I think it's gonna go both ways, Yonzo. I think you're gonna have some depends on your role. I think something gonna be, you know, builds might be a bit more linear, but you're also going to need to really use the flexibility of the system to get like the largest, to be the most efficient at them. I'm also thinking about using the like splitting up your support skills and stuff versus having one character doing all the support. Is the number of players limited in Adventure Zones, or can I end up rolling through the lot? Okay. So, the Adventure Zones themselves are a full zone that's about 2/3 the size of a regular zone, but the whole zone is tuned for 4 players. Instead of a dungeon, they have what basically surmounts to a 12-man raid. So yeah. In the Adventure Zone itself, it's the same as a regular zone in terms of like player count, but the actual raid itself, the cool part, is 12. When does Rudy's normally stream? Tuesdays, Thursday mornings. So it'll be Thursday morning, about 20 minutes ago, roughly. I think 20 minutes ago. Is it 20 minutes ago or an hour and 20 minutes ago? Yeah, jewelry is only from drops. Switch to Friday? Ah. Well then. Live demonstration crafting? Is that what you're going for? Since we can stream Fridays? New to MMOs? Any tips on leveling skills and etc.? If you're new to MMOs, I would say do as much research as you can. But there's a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of wrong information, so you have to be careful. I would say, like, try and do as much research as you can, and just when you actually get in game, respecking is fairly cheap. Just, you know, while you're leveling up and while you're still getting used to the game, just try things. Just try things. Just play the... Yeah. So who the fuck's in Mountain Time? Mountain Time, of all things. Weirdo. Blocking does cost stamina. It does not cost more... if you have more stamina, does it cost more? No, blocking costs stamina, but it costs a static amount. I believe the base value is 216. That sounds right. I think it's 216. If you have all the right, so if you're using a shield and are using heavy armor and are using defensive posture, you can reduce it all the way down to 90. And 90 is fairly cheap for a block. And then on top of that, you can also add block cost reduction enchants, which will further reduce the cost of blocking. Do our sorcerers stream? I think one. One sort of streams. I think they both sort of stream. Rudius, post the link to the multi-Twitch. I don't think anyone else is live right now, but Rudius has a link to all of the Entry Rising streams. The two sorcerers on there, I believe, are Mork and Nibling. Wouldn't just walk around blocking and spamming spells, because you'll run out of stamina. Also, you're slowed while you're blocking, so you're still going to get hit by things. And, like, clan fears hurt. A lot. I'm surprised no one died to the clan fears in this dungeon run. Oh yeah, he gets to link his multi-Twitch. I don't think anyone else is live right now, so it's not going to kill your bandwidth. Oh yeah, I forgot Atropos plays Sorcerer as well. Yes, that's right. He's still 38, 9, maybe 40. I die here. This goes really badly. I don't even know why. Bashing is hard. I wouldn't necessarily say it's your fault. I feel more inclined to blame everyone else because they don't bash the other harvester. So your thoughts on endgame tanks? Do you think there'll be specific classes as guilds to run with, or do you think all classes will work as optimally as tanks? I think what's going to happen is because of the flexibility of the system, different classes will be good for different encounters. So, as an example, a Dragon Knight would be better for a spell-heavy boss because it has reflective scales. It has a really good spell reflect. Nightblades, I'm not too sure on, but they have really accessible damage evasion, like mischance. Yeah. He's 44? He actually made it to 44? That's amazing. Wait. I don't even know what Obsidian Scar is. But you found 2 DKs that don't have any AoE. What kind of DKs are these? What kind of DKs did you find? Particularly like VR, like 7 or 8 plus DKs. What? Huh? How does this makes no sense? How do you find these people? The Khajiit racial, I would say it's not like a must-have. I would say it's definitely good if you're like a crit-based build. For science. The Rivenspire public dungeon? So, the VR3 public dungeon. I thought, okay, that's terrifying. That sounds really, really bad. Does Major Light affect Deathswitch Staff less heavy attacks? I think it does. I believe the light and heavy attacks on Destruction Staff use Spell Grit, which is odd. Yeah. That's really how are you a Dragonite that hits VR at least VR3 and doesn't have at least Burning Talons? How do you not at least have Talons? That hurts my brain. That hurts my brain. Alright. So to complete my build, I want to ask you if Pierce Armor is an interesting debuff to use when in the middle of a group event. So Pierce Armor only hits one target. So really, what you're looking for when you're tanking is to find. Oh, let's skip back. I'll show you. Not this boss. Oops. Where's the stairs? Come on. Alright. The pull like between this boss and the last boss is actually a really good example of what you need to do. So as soon as we get there, I'll point it out. Fire proximity. Is it really pain in the ass or melee? It's something they need to be mindful of. All right. Do I have a good? What's a good camera shot? Okay. That's not good quality. I need to go back like 2 seconds. Alright, what type of armor would you be using for a Warlock type Dragonite? Light. Okay. So, if you look at this pack, I don't actually think it's on camera. I think it's out of the draw distance. But, where's that guy there? Okay. This guy right here, this guy right here that I'm mousing over uses a two-handed axe, and he will absolutely crush someone in light armor. So as a tank, it is your job to pick. You need to pick up this guy, or he's going to run to your casters and kill them. I think, like, this is a battle mage. He's okay. This is also another one of the battle mages. These guys right here, these are just regular casters. These are fine. You can let them go. I think this guy right here is also the two-handed guy, and you need this guy here and this guy are the two that you need to be mindful of. These are the two guys that you absolutely have to pick up in this pull, or you're probably going to lose a player. So what I tend to do, I don't think I don't know if I do it in this one exactly, is I manually grab the first guy, I get the attention of these guys, it like split the pull. Oh, he doesn't use an axe. Okay, so there's one. You can see it. He's right here. This guy uses a two-handed sword. These are both battle mages. I was slightly wrong. Wait, here he comes now. This guy right here. You can see him. He's running up. He's running up. He's on me. He's casting a spell. He's currently doing nothing for some reason. And Erlux died. Erlux got hit by a bunch of stuff and died. High quality. So you just need to be aware of like what the really heavy hitting things are in the packs, and those are what you need to grab. Armor type was using a Warlock Dragonite. Most of the time if you're using a Warlock stuff, it's going to be dots, and dots are really magica based, so you need light. Yeah. Good morning, BDF. How are you? Speaking of Battle Mage, what would you suggest is a good Battle Mage build? A good Battle Mage build, Battle Mage builds are actually really flexible. I think 5 heavy, 2 light actually is a really good combination. It gives you not, like, terrible mana regen. So, as long as you're aware of how you're consuming your resources and don't take terrible skills, it's fairly reasonable. I'm not actually sure what the current state of Bolt Escape is. The issue with Templar tanking is Sun Shield is magic regen deny. So, I think that's Sun Shield is this weird situation where shields not counting your mitigation actually benefits the player. Because you get this really large shield that cancels your magic regeneration, but it gets kicked off really quickly. Yeah. So it also yeah, that's my thoughts on that. What are my thoughts on evasion tanking? Since mitigation soft caps are so easy to reach, would it be better for no. So, the soft cap is easy to reach. The soft cap, though, for armor is only 35%. Armor is definitely what? That recording quality. Holy crap. Wow, okay. So yeah, they saw armor is definitely one of the soft caps that you absolutely want to push past, because the soft cap itself is only 35% damage reduction. You're going to want to get closer to like 2,000, 2,200 armor, which is more like 42, 45% damage reduction. Personally, I don't this is just like something I've inherited from other MMOs, is I absolutely hate evasion tanking because it's random. I don't like relying on random mechanics to not die. So I will get as much like active and passive mitigation as I can, and then if I have space, I'll take evasion. Yeah, as people are saying, there is a beta weekend coming this week. It is this weekend. They announced it an hour ago on Twitter. Apparently they put up a new AUA on crafting. Let's see what we got.